All right, let's get into the second principle, which is the majority rules. And this one, guys, I'm going to tell you is probably the most challenging one for everyone's ego. So let me explain to you guys how this works with a bit of a story, actually. I was watching Celebrity Apprentice just last week. One of the episodes was the task was for them to make a jingle. And there was a team. It was Johnny Damon, Ian something from 90210 or whatever, and this lady from one of those like Desperate Housewives reality shows. Okay, so here's the scene. They have to make a jingle. Ian came up with a jingle that was very similar to La Cucaracha, and Johnny Damon wrote this original jingle which really had no hook and really wasn't catchy and no one would remember it, which is sort of what a jingle needs to be done. So anyhow, Ian loved his, Johnny loved his, the project manager, which was the lady, liked Johnny's, or probably less than liking Johnny's, she didn't like Ian's. So with that, they spent 90% of their energy and they spent 90% of their effort in arguing, but never really came up with a plan. And through that, the team never got behind one idea to be able to make it good. And the result of this was, instead of one person being fired, like a typical Celebrity Apprentice show, all three ended up getting fired, and it was the first time for me to be able to see that. So with that, how could this have been done better? First and foremost, the team leader needs to go behind and needs to be able to facilitate conversation and make sure conversation is done in a constructive way. So I say, guys, our first thing is everyone needs to be creative. And so everyone that comes up with an idea is going to be given the ability to be able to share their idea. And they're going to use the first principle. When one person's talking, everyone listens. When that person's fully shared their idea, now there's two things that can happen. Our first part of it is everyone can add to that person's idea. Oh, so you had this piece. Well, isn't that like La Cucaracha? So let's make this into a different, whatever, let's put this into a different tone because we can't even use La Cucaracha because someone's already used it. So now the team is adding to this person's idea to make it better. At the end of the ad period, now we can ask them questions. How you came up with that, why did you come up with that, and all of those things. After that person's idea is done, we'll move on to the next idea. Now that person shares their idea. Now everyone can add to that person's idea to try to make it better. And then also we can add questions. Once we've hashed these things out, what we're going to do is we're going to vote. And before we vote, I remind them, I say, look, at the end of this vote, some people's ideas are going to be used. Some people's ideas are going to not be used. But once we voted, we are going to put 100% of our efforts. We're going to put our blinders up. We're going to forget old ideas. We're going to forget if your idea wasn't used. And we're going to go with the majority because we need everybody's energy to be behind this idea so we can get the most out of this so we can win. And in life or in business, winning is progressing. So we need to be able to nail this because realistically, any idea can work if the majority just gets behind the idea, because we can continue to adapt, change, and use all of the strengths of the team if everyone's behind this idea. So that's what we do. It's very important to always continue to be able to remind, and it's very important job as the leader to be able to facilitate everybody's ideas and get everybody into one idea, one page, so we can move forward and reach success together. So that's the end of the second principle, guys. Be excited to be able to share with you guys the third principle here soon.